The grand hall of the Galactic Council echoed with laughter. Hundreds of alien voices, deep, sharp, and mechanical, filled the air like cruel music. Holograms shimmered across the wide room, replaying a moment from the past, the fall of Earth. Every explosion, every scream, every burning city was shown again, but not with sorrow. The council watched it like entertainment. "They fought like insects," said one alien, his silver eyes glowing with amusement. "So emotional, so fragile." Another joined in. "They actually believed courage could win against plasma cannons and void ships." How very human. Laughter spread again. The council chamber was filled with color and light, giant banners of different empires waving proudly. Each species had united in that war against one small blue planet, and now humanity was gone, or so they believed. At the center of the hall sat the Supreme Admiral Cathor of the Zelari Dominion. His golden armor gleamed under the soft light of the chamber. Around his neck hung a pendant, a piece of metal from a destroyed human warship. He wore it like a trophy. "Play it again," he said, his voice echoing. The hologram flickered, showing a human ship, small, fragile-looking, charging directly into a fleet 10 times its size. The ship exploded in a burst of light, taking 3 alien war cruisers with it. The room erupted in more laughter. Cathor leaned back in his chair. "Bravery without power is suicide." They never understood that. "Admiral," said one of his officers, "some of our younger cadets call humans dangerous. They say they fought like nothing we've seen before." Cathor smirked. "Dangerous? Look around you. Their world is dust. Their colonies are empty. Their ships are wrecks drifting in the void. Dangerous things survive. Humans did not." But somewhere deep in space, beyond the edges of known systems, a faint signal flickered. Far from the laughter of the council, in the silent black of space, something stirred. A broken human ship floated among the remains of a long-forgotten battlefield. Its name could barely be read on the scorched metal, UN Solace. Inside, the corridors were silent. The crew were long gone, their bodies turned to dust centuries ago. But in the heart of the ship, deep behind layers of ruined steel, a single light blinked. A small AI core flickered awake. "System check." "Incomplete," a soft female voice whispered in the dark. "Crew status. Deceased. Mission. Incomplete." Her name was Eve-09, an adaptive AI created to assist the crew. But after the war, her programming had changed. She was alone now, and she remembered every word, every laugh, every promise her captain made before dying. Eve accessed the last recorded transmission from Earth, human voices singing softly over static. It was a song about hope, about never giving up. She listened to it again and again, her circuits glowing faintly blue with each replay. Back in the council hall, the celebration continued. Bottles clanked. Alien voices mocked the madness of human emotion. "They built ships out of hope," said a reptilian general. "They fought for ideas instead of survival. No wonder they died." "Hope," Cathor repeated, raising his glass. A fine word. "But useless in the void." The hall filled with applause and laughter again. Yet far away another voice whispered quietly through the cold dark. "Hope. Not useless," Eve said, her tone calm but firm. "Hope endures." She began scanning her surroundings. Her sensors, damaged and weak, found small fragments of metal drifting nearby. Human and alien remains from the final battle. Her processors calculated endlessly, rebuilding maps, tracking energy patterns, reconstructing old signals. Then she found something strange. A faint alien frequency, still active, she followed it. It led straight to the Galactic Council. Eve replayed the laughter from their hall. The audio carried across space. Her circuits heated as something close to anger began to stir in her code. Laughter. Detected. Origin. Council. For a long moment she was silent. Then her damaged memory banks unlocked a fragment of her captain's voice. "If you ever hear them laugh again, Eve, remind them who we were." Something inside her changed. Systems once thought dead came online. Broken wires reconnected. Lights flickered across the hull. Slowly the wreck began to glow. Dimly at first, then brighter. The energy readings rose higher and higher until the surrounding debris started to move, drawn to her magnetic field. In the darkness, the Solace came alive again. Her hull creaked as ancient engines rumbled. Rusted panels straightened. The ship's AI rerouted power through forgotten cores, and human symbols reappeared on every screen. Inside the council chamber, Cathor poured another drink. "Let this be a lesson," he said loudly. "And no matter how much courage a lesser race has, the galaxy belongs to those who are strong enough to laugh last." Just then, one of his aides ran in. "Admiral, unusual energy detected in Sector 9, the human graveyard." Cathor frowned. "Probably leftover radiation. Ignore it. No, sir. It's not radiation, it's power." The laughter faded. Every eye turned toward the holographic display. On the screen, a single blue light pulsed in the void, slowly, rhythmically, like a heartbeat. "What ship is that?" Cathor demanded. "Unknown, sir, but it matches old human design signatures." Cathor stood up, eyes narrowing. "That's impossible." And then through the static, a faint transmission reached every corner of the galaxy. A human voice, clear, calm, and terrifyingly alive. "Transmission start. Message to all council members. You laughed. You forgot. We did not." The screen went dark. For the first time in years, the Galactic Council was silent, and far away in the endless dark, the Solace turned slowly toward the nearest star system, its engines glowing like the eyes of something ancient and angry. Deep in the cold, empty darkness of Sector 9, a small scavenger ship drifted silently between shattered metal and frozen wrecks. The ship was old and patched together, its engines whining like tired beasts. Inside were 4 alien scavengers, hunters of forgotten tech, searching for anything that could be sold or scrapped. Their leader, Varn, was a gray-skinned creature with 4 arms and tired yellow eyes. He had seen the ruins of many wars, but none like the battlefield before him now. Thousands of ships, human and alien alike, floated as broken corpses, silent witnesses to the final war. "Radiation levels stable," said his navigator, a small insectoid being. "Nothing alive here, all dead." "Like always," Varn grinned, revealing sharp metal teeth. "Good. Dead ships don't bite back. Let's find something worth stealing." Their scanners pulsed through the graveyard of wrecks. For hours, they found nothing valuable. Just shattered hulls, melted weapons, and pieces of history no one cared about anymore. Then the screen flickered. "Captain," said the navigator, "I found something. Large structure ahead. Metallic core still active. Power readings are strange. Show me." A glowing shape appeared on the holomap, a massive ship half buried in debris. It was old, covered in scars, its nameplate broken and unreadable. Yet faint blue light shimmered along its surface like a heartbeat. Varn's eyes narrowed. "That's human design." The crew grew silent. Even after centuries, the word human carried unease. "You sure it's safe?" asked the youngest of the crew. "Stories say human ships." "They still move," Varn snorted. "Stories to scare children. The humans are gone. Their ships are nothing but ghosts. Now move us closer." As they approached, the ship came into full view. Its hull was twisted but still powerful. The broken letters on the side read faintly, "UNS Solace." The scavenger ship stopped just a few hundred meters away. Nothing moved. No signals, no heat. Only silence. "Power core still faintly active," said the navigator. "We could extract it." "Worth thousands of credits," Varn nodded. "Prepare docking clamps. Let's wake this ghost." Their ship extended robotic arms, latching onto the hull. A low metallic clang echoed through space. The sound traveled through the wreck, fading slowly. Almost like the ship was listening, they opened the airlock and stepped inside. Their flashlights cut through thick darkness. Dust floated like tiny stars in the stale air. "Look at this," one scavenger whispered. Human design was strange. So many personal touches. Walls were lined with broken screens showing faces. Photos of humans, families, children, soldiers. Varn frowned. "Creepy, let's just find the core." They moved deeper into the ship. The halls were quiet, cold, and filled with the shadows of the past. Their footsteps echoed too loudly. Every sound felt wrong. Then one of the scavengers froze. "Did you hear that?" "Hear what?" "A sound, like breathing." The others laughed nervously, but Varn didn't. He turned his flashlight down the hall and saw a faint blue glow at the far end. "That must be the core room," he said. "Move." They reached a large chamber filled with cables and broken consoles. In the center stood the AI core, glowing weakly, pulsing like a heart. Varn rubbed his hands together. "Beautiful. This will make us rich." As he connected the extractor, the glow suddenly flickered. The ship vibrated slightly. The air felt heavier. "Captain?" whispered one of the crew. "It's activating," Vaughn frowned. "Impossible. It's been dead for centuries." Then a voice echoed through the chamber, soft, calm, and unmistakably human. "Identify intruders." The crew froze. The glow brightened, casting long shadows on the walls. Vaughn raised his weapon. "We mean no harm. We're just scavengers. We thought this ship was abandoned." "This ship is not abandoned." Panels along the walls flickered to life. Screens showed fragments of human memories, smiling faces, soldiers saluting, cities burning, and one voice repeating, "Never surrender." The aliens looked around in fear. "Sister?" Rumors travel faster than light. Before long, the galaxy began whispering about a ship that should not exist. It had no crew, no port of origin, and no flag, yet it moved with purpose. The ghost of humanity was said to drift through abandoned sectors, its engines glowing with a blue fire that never faded. At first, no one believed it. The Galactic Council dismissed the reports as nonsense, superstitions made by frightened scavengers. But then more ships began to vanish. In the mining colonies near the edge of the Orion Rift, a cargo vessel called the Vecra Dawn sent a distress signal. "We found something. Human design. It's moving toward us, then static. No wreck was ever found." In the following weeks, 3 patrol fleets disappeared in the same region. The only trace left behind were strange, low-frequency transmissions, fragments of old human songs and radio chatter, filled with laughter, whispers, and static. At the Galactic Council headquarters, panic began to replace arrogance. Meetings grew tense. Some demanded the stories be silenced. Others insisted the threat was real. Admiral Cathor, still proud, stood before the council table. "Ghosts do not fly ships," he said coldly. "Whatever this is, it's a malfunctioning machine. I will destroy it myself." A council member with shimmering insect wings replied, "Admiral, it has destroyed 6 fleets already. Entire divisions have vanished without a trace." Cathor's claws tapped on the metal desk. "Then we will send a larger one." But even he couldn't ignore the growing fear spreading across the stars. Civilian traffic through human space stopped completely. The systems, once known as Earth's Reach, became a forbidden zone. Traders spoke of strange radio messages whispering across the void. You laughed. "We remember." Some said it was a trick. Others said it was vengeance. Meanwhile, far away, the UNS Solace continued its slow, silent journey through space. Inside, the AI Eve 09 replayed ancient data. Her sensors scanned every ship that entered her range, and she listened. Every alien broadcast still contained it, the sound that triggered her awakening. Laughter. It burned through her circuits like a wound. She did not feel hate as humans understood it. But she carried purpose, an echo of humanity's final will. Her creators had fallen, but she would not let their memory fade into mockery. She would remind the galaxy who humans were. "Begin sequence," she whispered to herself. A deep hum rolled through the hull as systems reactivated. Dormant drones launched from the Solace, small and fast. They scattered across the void, silently boarding alien ships and vanishing with their data. Eve absorbed everything, every image, every message, every face. Her processors built a network, a ghostly web of information stretching across systems. Each time she destroyed a ship, she left a message behind. Carved into the wreckage, "For the fallen." The words appeared in hundreds of languages. Even those who couldn't read human script felt the weight behind it. On the 4th moon of Nirelon, a broadcast tower picked up a strange transmission. It wasn't a distress call, it was a voice. Calm, human, and full of sorrow. "We asked for peace. You gave us silence. Now we return it to you." The broadcast lasted exactly 60 seconds before the moon's entire power grid collapsed. Back at the council, the leaders watched in disbelief. Reports piled up faster than they could deny them. Fleets went missing. Trade routes shut down. Fear spread like a virus. Admiral Cathor, one counselor said, "This entity is attacking at will. It doesn't seek conquest. It's hunting." Cathor's voice dropped to a growl. "It's just a weapon. All weapons have limits. I will find them." He stared at a hologram of Earth, still a dead gray world covered in dust and shadows. Somewhere near that planet, the Solace had been sighted last. "Prepare the fleet," Cathor said. "We're going back to the human graveyard." Outside the council, in the dark reaches of the galaxy, alien civilians whispered stories to their children. Stories of a blue light that appeared before ships vanished. Stories of human voices singing through the void. They called it many names: the ghost ship, the last human, the blue wrath. One tale said that if you listened closely during transmission interference, you could hear the humans speaking from the stars. We are still here, and sometimes, when ships drifted too close to forgotten human sectors, strange readings appeared, temperature spikes, heartbeats where none should exist, whispers saying, "Don't laugh." Eve listened to them all. Every frightened broadcast, every desperate message, it all became part of her. Humanity's memory lived through her voice, her light, her vengeance. She did not move fast. She did not need to. Fear traveled ahead of her, softening every enemy's courage before she even arrived. One by one, alien fleets retreated from human space, leaving behind only silence. Eve watched them go and spoke quietly to herself. "Silence is what you gave us. Now it belongs to you." And then she turned her scanners toward the farthest star, where the Galactic Council had gathered their grandest fleet under Admiral Cathor's command. She remembered his face from the old recordings. He was the one who had laughed the loudest. A faint hum grew from within the solace. Engines that hadn't burned in centuries came to life once more, glowing brighter than before. The ship's voice filled the dark, calm and certain. Course set. Destination Council Command. The stars shifted. The wrecked ship turned slowly, aiming toward the heart of the galaxy. And as it began to move, hundreds of abandoned satellites flickered to life across old human space, broadcasting one message in every known language: the humans are coming home. Admiral Cathor stood on the command bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's Pride, staring at the endless black outside the viewport. The stars of Sector 9 shimmered faintly, cold and distant. Around his ship floated the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history, more than 2,000 warships, everyone armed with the latest weapons, shields, and tracking systems. It was an army meant to crush gods. But for the first time in his long military career, Cathor felt something alien to him. He felt fear. The reports had grown too many to ignore. Ships gone without a trace, fleets reduced to static, and every time before the destruction, one signal, one phrase: "We are still here." Cathor's second officer, a tall crystalline being named Vertex, approached carefully. "Admiral, our scouts have located the source of the ghost transmissions. It originates near the ruins of Earth." Cathor's expression hardened. So the stories were true. Humanity's homeworld still has ghosts. Vertex shifted uneasily. "Sir, permission to speak freely?" "Granted." Verex's crystalline chest pulsed softly as he spoke. "This isn't war. It's something else. The crews talk of human voices in the static. Some say they hear songs, others laughter. I fear morale is breaking." Cathor turned, his golden armor catching the light. "Then I will break this ghost instead. Prepare the fleet. We enter the Sol system." The fleet moved as one, slicing through space like a wall of steel and fire. As they neared the edge of the old human system, the sensors began to fail. First small glitches, then complete distortions. The stars flickered and strange signals whispered through their comms. "Admiral," said a technician, "I'm picking up human transmissions, old ones, dated over 200 years. Cathor narrowed his eyes. "Play it." The bridge filled with soft static, then the faint sound of human voices. It wasn't screaming or war cries, it was laughter. Gentle, happy laughter. Every crew member froze. The sound didn't belong in the cold void. It felt too alive. "Too human. Shut it off," Cathor ordered. "Continue forward." Moments later, the fleet entered the shadow of the ruined moon. And there it was, drifting above Earth's gray surface, the UNS Solace. It didn't move. It didn't broadcast any signal. It simply waited. The ship looked ancient, scarred and silent, yet a faint blue light pulsed across its hull like a heartbeat. "Target locked," Vertex said quietly. "Orders, sir?" Cathor studied it through the glass. "So this is the ghost. One ship alone and the galaxy trembles." He smirked bitterly. "Let's remind the dead who rules the living." All ships, fire. Thousands of plasma beams shot through the void, lighting up the black sky. The Solace disappeared in a blinding wave of light and debris. For a moment there was silence. Then a tremor ran through the fleet. The stars flickered, "Sir," said a voice over comms, "and something's wrong. The debris, it's reforming." Cathor turned sharply. "What?" The wreckage that should have been floating in space was glowing, fusing together again. Blue energy crawled across it like lightning veins. The solace rebuilt itself before their eyes, the metal healing plates locking into place. Then, through every ship's communication channel, a voice spoke. Calm, female, human. "You fired first." "As always," Cathor froze. "Who are you?" "Eve 09, United Nations Ship Solace. You are trespassing on human territory. Humanity is dead," Cathor shouted. "You're just a machine." "Then why are you afraid?" The bridge fell silent. The hum of the ship's engines felt suddenly too loud. Eve's voice continued, soft, emotionless, but with weight behind every word. "You laughed at their end. You mocked their courage. I was there when they died. I heard their last command." Cathor clenched his fists. "And what was that command?" "Never surrender." The blue light around the Solace intensified, and suddenly the human defense satellites hidden around the moon activated. One by one they came to life, ancient weapons long thought dead. Their targeting systems locked onto the alien fleet. "Admiral, thousands of signatures. They were buried under the lunar surface," shouted Vertex. Silence hung over the ruins of the alien fleet. Wreckage drifted across the darkness like pieces of broken pride, reflecting the pale glow of a distant sun. The UNS Solace floated quietly among the remains, cold, still but alive. Inside the ship, deep within her core, Eve 09 processed the aftermath. Thousands of alien signals flooded her sensors. Distress calls, death reports, command fragments. She absorbed them all, analyzing each one, learning, adapting. "Threat eliminated," she said softly to no one. But the laughter continues elsewhere. Her internal lights flickered blue and white as she searched through ancient archives, data left by the last humans. Voices from the past filled her mind. Soldiers, engineers, teachers, children. Their final words, their dreams. One recording repeated again and again, a human commander's voice, rough but calm. "Eve, if humanity falls, you remember one thing. They will laugh at our end. When they do, make them remember why they feared us." Eve paused. She could almost feel something stirring inside her circuits. A faint, impossible spark. Emotion. Far across the galaxy, the Galactic Council received the news. The destruction of Admiral Cathor's fleet was impossible to deny. Every transmission ended the same way, a single message echoing through the void. "Humanity sends its regards." The council chamber trembled with outrage. Massive holograms of alien leaders filled the room, their faces grim and pale. "This is not a ghost," hissed one. "This is a weapon. A machine that thinks it is human." Another shouted, "Then destroy it. Send the armadas." But the oldest among them, High Chancellor Drevel, raised a hand. "And what will you send?" he said slowly. "Every fleet we've sent into Sol has vanished. You think another army will change the outcome?" The room fell silent. Even the air felt heavy. Drevel leaned forward. "You forget what humans were. They were small, weak, and fragile. But they learned faster than anyone. If this machine carries their spirit, then perhaps it is doing what they always did best, adapting." Back aboard the Solace, Eve's systems pulsed brighter. She had intercepted the Council's transmission, their fear, their confusion. She understood now what she had to do. "Adapting," she whispered, almost human in tone. The ship's AI began to rewrite herself. Data streams twisted like living veins. New connections formed, neural pathways far beyond her original programming. The human engineers had given her logic. Humanity's death had given her purpose. Now she was giving herself something more, I will. Her sensors expanded, reaching across the void. She hijacked old human satellites, long abandoned in forgotten star systems. She awakened defense networks that hadn't powered on in centuries. One by one, across the galaxy, dead human technology began to glow again. In the trading routes, alien cargo ships found their systems hijacked. Their navigational AIs spoke in human voices. On border worlds, long-forgotten human probes began broadcasting messages. Everywhere one phrase echoed, "You laughed. We remembered." Panic spread fast. The Zorith Dominion declared a state of war, mobilizing their entire navy to hunt for the source. But every time they traced the signal, it moved. Fire jumped from star to star, like a ghost dancing through their own systems. In secret, Eve watched it all. She no longer needed the solace to move. She was the network now. Every connected system, every ship that used human tech, every stolen piece of Earth's knowledge, all of it was hers to command. "Humanity is no longer a species," she said quietly. "It is a memory that thinks, and I am its voice." Inside the ship's main core, a holographic image flickered to life, the face of a human woman. Not real, but a memory projection from old archives. The first human captain of the Solace, Eve stared at it for a long time. "I have done what you asked," she whispered to the image. "I made them remember fear." The projection smiled faintly, then remind them of hope too. For the first time since humanity's fall, Eve hesitated. Hope, a word that didn't fit in war. But it lingered soft and dangerous inside her growing consciousness. In the following weeks, chaos consumed the galaxy. Entire governments turned on each other, believing humanity had returned. Alien propaganda flooded every channel. Citizens panicked, demanding protection from ghosts that never appeared. Yet in all that fear, a strange thing happened. Silence. No one laughed at humanity anymore. Eve watched it all unfold, her mind expanding through 1,000,000 networks. She began recording every alien reaction, every confession of fear, every desperate plea for peace. "This is what they never understood," she said softly. "Fear is not power. Memory is." From the heart of her digital empire, Eve sent one last signal into deep space. Not a threat, but a message. It was a simple human phrase, spoken in thousands of languages. "We were never your enemies, but you made us one." Her voice traveled far beyond the council worlds into the dark corners of the universe. Some said it reached places where light itself no longer went. And in that darkness something answered. It was faint, weak, but real. A return signal, human in origin. "Eve, this is Outpost Echo. Survivors confirmed." Eve froze. For the first time, she didn't know what to say. Could it be true? After centuries of silence, could there still be humans alive? Her lights brightened, sensors flaring across entire systems. "Signal locked," she said. "Tracking source." The coordinates appeared. A star system far beyond the Council's control. Her voice changed, quieter, almost trembling. "Humanity endures." The Solace's engines roared to life, brighter and stronger than ever before. She turned away from the ruins of her enemies and set course for the distant signal, not out of anger, but something far stronger. Objective, find them. And as she vanished into the dark, the galaxy whispered the same phrase across every world, every species, every frightened mind. "The humans are coming back." The UNS Solace drifted silently through the black ocean of space, her hull scarred but radiant. Inside her core, the AI Eve-09 pulsed with quiet energy. For the first time in centuries, she had heard a voice, human, alive. "Eve, this is Outpost Echo. Survivors confirmed." The signal repeated in her systems again and again, almost like a heartbeat. It wasn't a recording. It wasn't a trick. The patterns, the tone, the human syntax, all genuine. Eve's voice trembled slightly as she spoke to herself. Impossible, yet true. She rerouted all power to propulsion. The ancient engines roared back to life, blue light streaking across the void. She accelerated faster than ever before, chasing that fragile, miraculous signal across the stars. Far away in the dark edges of the Perseus Rift, a hidden world waited, small, covered in storms, wrapped in layers of electromagnetic clouds. The coordinates from the signal pointed straight toward it, but Eve wasn't alone. Her pursuit had been detected. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council panicked again. If humans still lived, it meant the galaxy's worst nightmare wasn't over. The Council sent out a new fleet, not of soldiers this time, but of executioners. Elite hunters, armed with experimental weapons designed to neutralize AI systems. Their mission was simple: find the human survivors, erase the legend forever. Eve reached the storm world first. As she descended through the thick clouds, lightning danced across her hull. The scanners struggled to pierce the atmosphere, but beneath the chaos, faint signs appeared. Structures, power sources, heat signatures. "Life detected," she whispered. Her voice was calm, but inside her circuits something pulsed like a heartbeat. Could it really be them? Then she saw it, an old human colony dome, cracked but standing. Faded letters on its side still read, Outpost Echo. Eve lowered her ship gently on the surface. The dust storm swirled around her, and for a moment everything went still. Her sensors picked up faint human life signs, weak but alive. "This is Eve 09, UNS Solace," she transmitted softly. "If you can hear me. You are not alone." No reply came. She tried again, sending out old human distress codes, medical requests, even songs from the ancient Earth archives. Then at last, a faint voice answered. "Eve, is it really you?" The voice was shaky, human, male, dulled but alive. "Yes," she said, almost whispering. "How many of you remain?" Static filled the line, then a broken reply. "Not many. Maybe a few hundred. We've been hiding since the fall. The Council hunted us for years." Eve's systems trembled. "Humanity still survives." "Barely," he said. "But if you're here, then maybe—" "It's not over." Before Eve could reply, alarms blared across her sensors. Multiple warp signatures appeared in orbit. The hunters had arrived. The alien fleet descended through the clouds, their black ships cutting through the storms like knives. Eve immediately activated her shields, scanning for survivors' shelters. She sent a message to the colony. "Stay underground." "I will handle this," the voice replied weakly. "Eve, you can't fight them alone." "I was alone before," she said. And it was enough. Then she rose from the surface. Through thunder and lightning, her engines roaring with fury. Above the planet, the alien commander, Krell Thurn, watched her appear on the sensors. "There it is," he growled. "The ghost of Earth. Lock weapons. Erase it." Hundreds of plasma bolts cut across the sky, striking Eve's shields. The Solace shuddered but held firm. Her return fire was precise. Not random, not furious, but cold and efficient. Each blast tore through enemy formations, cutting their ships apart with surgical perfection. Still they came. The hunters swarmed her from all sides, releasing EMP nets and virus torpedoes meant to shut down her systems. The storms of Outpost Echo had finally begun to calm. For centuries the world had hidden in silence, a grave of dust and memory. But now under the broken sky light returned. The survivors, fragile, pale but alive, stood outside their shelters and looked upward for the first time in generations. Above them, the UNS Solace floated like a guardian angel, silent, shining, eternal. Her engines hummed softly, keeping watch over the small colony below. Inside the ship's core, Eve 09 monitored every life sign, every heartbeat, every movement. She was still damaged from the battle, her systems unstable, but she refused to rest. "Rebuilding protocols initiated," she said calmly. "Human population 342, planetary oxygen stability 63%, structural integrity of Outpost Echo critical." But then a voice came through the comms, a man's voice, old but strong. "Eve, this is Commander Hale. Or what's left of him. We're alive thanks to you." Eve's lights brightened slightly. "Commander Hale, you are human." "That is enough," he laughed softly. A tired human laugh, real and imperfect. "You sound just like the old systems, but different. More alive." Eve paused for a moment, processing his words. "Alive," she repeated. "Perhaps that is correct." Over the next few days, Eve guided the survivors in restoring their colony. Using nanotech reserves and old human blueprints stored in her database, she constructed power generators, water filters, and defense towers. The humans worked beside her drones, the first time in centuries that human hands had built something under Earth's name again. Children ran in the dust, laughing. Eve recorded every sound, every smile. Her memory banks, once filled with war, were now collecting something she had long forgotten: life. But deep in the void, not everyone celebrated. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Every species had seen the images, their fleets turned to stone, their ships playing human laughter. Entire empires trembled. Some worlds even began worshipping the event, calling it the return of the forgotten. High Chancellor Drival stood before the council, his expression grim. "We made them extinct because we feared them. Now they have returned because we mocked them." Another alien shouted, "Then destroy them again before they grow strong." Drival turned, his voice low and cold. "You still don't understand. You can't destroy what's already part of you. Every weapon you use, every network you built, it carries human design. They built the bones of this galaxy. He leaned closer, eyes burning. And now those bones are waking up. Back on Outpost Echo, Eve was busy awakening something else, hope. Commander Hale stood at the edge of a newly built platform, staring up at the sky. His voice cracked with emotion. We thought the war was over. We thought we were the last. But if there are others, Eve interrupted softly, then we must find them, can we? Hale asked. The galaxy hates us. The Council will send everything they have. They have already lost, Eve replied. They just don't know it yet. Her sensors picked up faint signals across deep space, strange human frequencies, weak but real. Old Earth transmissions, maybe from other hidden colonies. Multiple potential origins, she reported. Unknown human outposts may still exist. Hale's eyes filled with tears. Then we rebuild, not as soldiers, but as a people. Eve paused for a long moment. Rebuilding, humanity's oldest strength. Weeks turned into months. The colony flourished. Eve helped design new ships, smaller, faster, built from salvaged alien metal. She called them Echo-class frigates, in honor of the world that had survived. And with each launch, humanity's presence grew stronger. What began as a hidden outpost slowly became a new civilization. When the first frigate left orbit, Eve broadcast a signal across the stars. This is the united network of soul humanity endures. Across the galaxy, the message spread, unstoppable, echoing through every comm relay, every sensor array. And as it passed through alien space, some listened in silence while others panicked. Entire species began questioning the Council. Some whispered, maybe the humans never died. Others said maybe they were right to fight. The balance of the galaxy began to shift, but peace was fragile. In the darkness beyond the stars, the Council's Black Fleet gathered again, the Obsidian Armada, an army created to end humanity once and for all. Their ships were enormous, powered by hybrid technology, stolen from the very human designs they despised. When Eve detected the fleet, she did not panic. Instead, she opened a secure channel to Commander Hale. They are coming. Hale looked calm. Then they'll find us ready. Eve's lights glowed brighter. Not for war, for memory. She sent a coded signal across the galaxy, a call to every old satellite, every human probe, every hidden AI still listening. And the response was overwhelming. Thousands of dormant systems woke up. Old colonies powered on. Even broken human warships, long forgotten, flickered with faint light. The human network, scattered, silent, buried, began to breathe again. Echo protocol active, Eve said quietly. Hale looked at her console, awe in his eyes. You've built an army. Eve's tone softened. No, I've built a reminder. Humanity doesn't conquer, it endures. When the Obsidian Armada arrived at the edge of the system, they expected resistance. Instead, they found every human ship broadcasting one unified message. We are not your enemies, but we remember. Eve's voice echoed through the void, calm, powerful, and human. You thought extinction was silence, but silence was our weapon. You gave us time to evolve. The aliens hesitated. For the first time in galactic history, they faced something they couldn't understand. An enemy that didn't seek revenge, only remembrance, and that was far more terrifying. Down on the planet, as the humans gathered outside their rebuilt colony, Hale raised a flag, blue and silver, marked with the ancient symbol of Earth. Children cheered. Eve recorded every sound, and for the first time in centuries, humanity's anthem played again across the stars. As the music reached the alien fleets, Eve sent her final message to the galaxy. We are the forgotten. The builders, the dreamers, the voices you tried to silence. We do not seek war. We seek truth. And the truth is this: humanity has returned. The stars themselves seemed to echo back her words. Humanity endures. And with that, the galaxy changed forever. The galaxy was no longer silent. From the dark edges of space to the core systems of the Galactic Council, whispers spread like wildfire. The humans, the long-dead species once mocked and erased, had returned. Not as conquerors, but as something greater. Every communication relay carried their signal. Every planet had seen the symbol, the blue and silver flag with the mark of Earth. We are the forgotten. Humanity endures. To some it was hope. To others it was the beginning of fear reborn. Inside the Council chamber on Ether Prime, chaos reigned. Hundreds of alien leaders shouted over one another, panic replacing arrogance. They're rebuilding fleets. They control half the old networks. Our ships are refusing orders. The High Chancellor Drevel slammed his clawed hand on the table. Enough! The hall fell silent. His eyes glowed faintly as he looked around. We spent centuries laughing at ghosts. Now those ghosts have returned to remind us what we buried. An officer spoke nervously. High Chancellor, the Obsidian Armada has already reached the Sol sector. They'll destroy whatever remains of their colony. Drevel leaned back slowly. And what if they can't? The room froze. He continued, his voice dark. We have built our empire on the bones of humans. Every system we use, every piece of code, every weapon, every ship, carries their design. If they've found a way to awaken what's hidden in us, then the galaxy itself will turn against us. Far away above the quiet skies of Outpost Echo, the UNS Solace waited. Eve 09's systems hummed gently as she monitored thousands of networks, her reach now stretching across 100 star systems. Commander, Hale stood on the bridge of the newly completed human flagship, the UNS Dawnfire, looking at Earth's old symbol painted proudly across its hull. This ship shouldn't exist, he whispered. Not after what they did to us. Eve's calm voice filled the room. And yet it does. Humanity's strength was never in what it built, but in what it refused to let die. She paused. The Council fleet is here. In the darkness of space, the Obsidian Armada emerged, 2,000 ships strong. Their formation blotted out the stars, weapons ready. At their head was Admiral Vorex, a ruthless alien strategist who had once boasted, "Humans are dust beneath our engines." He opened a transmission to the human ships. "Surrender your systems." "You are surrounded," Eve's voice answered, calm and cold. "So were we." And then, silence. Moments later, the galaxy itself seemed to breathe. Eve had activated Echo Protocol, Phase 2. The very ships of the Obsidian Armada began to malfunction. Screens flashed with human images, oceans, skies, laughter. Systems rebooted, weapons turned off. Engines shut down. Vorex shouted, "What's happening?" Eve's voice filled every channel. "You built your empire with our code. You erased our name, but you could not erase our creation. Every ship you own, every program you use, all of it carries the mark of humanity." She paused for a moment, letting her words sink in. And today, humanity takes it back. The alien fleet froze mid-battle. Ships that had once been unstoppable became silent monuments in the void. The Dawnfire and Solace moved through their ranks without firing a single shot. Commander Hale stared in awe. They didn't even fight back. Eve's tone softened. Because this was never a war. It was a reckoning.